So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us to celebrate the publication of the second edition of Laridae. My name is Rhiannon Bemis, and I'm the Director of the Office of Undergraduate Research and Creative Activity and Faculty Advisor to Laridae. Before we begin, I do want to make one programming note. One of the authors, Kaylin Joseph, was inadvertently left off the program, but Kaylin is here this evening and will be discussing her work, and we apologize for this error. So welcome again, and first and foremost, I want to say how very proud I am of this year's edition of Laridae and the enormous amount of effort that went into it. In unprecedented times, this year's executive staff, editors, faculty reviewers, and authors managed to produce a journal that is a wonderful representation of the high caliber of work done by SU students across all of our academic disciplines. While this year's edition was truly a collaborative effort, I want to especially thank one person whose efforts were critical to the success of this year's journal, Laridae's editor-in-chief, Margaret Giggy. Maggie worked tirelessly through challenge after challenge to ensure that Laridae would be published. We honestly would not be here tonight celebrating Laridae without her efforts. I couldn't imagine a better person to truly lead Laridae during a time of a global pandemic. And Maggie, I'm just so proud to have worked with you and so happy to continue working with you in the future. So this evening, we are very fortunate to have Dr. Charles White, Salisbury University President, Dr. Karen Olmsted, Provost and Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dr. Clifton Griffin, Dean of Graduate Studies and Research, and many of the authors here to present their work. We thank all of you for being here at what we know is a very busy time of the semester. So I will now turn the program over to Editor-in-Chief of Laridae, Maggie Giggy, to say a few words and to introduce our speakers and authors.
Awesome, thank you. So again, welcome to the second annual Laridae Launch. My name is Margaret Giggy and I am the Editor-in-Chief of Laridae. Thank you all for being here today through Zoom during this unprecedented time. And although we do wish we could have made this an in-person event, for everyone's safety, we have decided the Zoom launch was best. I hope everyone enjoys the comfort of their homes while learning a little bit more about us. I want to start off by thanking Dr. White, Dr. Olmsted, and Dr. Griffin for attending and acting as speakers for our event, as well as congratulate all the authors for having their work published. It can be a long and arduous process, but the payoff is well worth it. All the student speakers present here today are the authors featured in this year's journal. As many of you may already know, Laridae is Salisbury University's first ever undergraduate academic journal that debuted last year, fall of 2019. The name Laridae is actually Latin for seagull, a fitting name reflecting our university's mascot. Not to fully quote the whole mission statement, but Laridae seeks to facilitate and further augment SU's academic environment by offering a high-quality forum for the pursuit of knowledge. Basically, we are here to help foster an environment of critical thinking and showcase Salisbury University's undergraduate academic diversity. Our goal is to help students achieve confidence in their work and allow them to experience the publishing realm to enhance professionalism in their future careers. This year has been especially challenging, but our goal was to keep pushing through, and here we are today. I am proud of what we have accomplished. We, as in Salisbury University. Laridae was created by and features our very own Salisbury University students with the help of the Office of Research and Undergraduate Activities. A lot goes into this journal. It isn't as simple as submitting work and being published. Instead, it is a collective team effort with the Laridae editors, faculty, mentors, and reviewers, and the authors to work with each piece to make it the best it can be. All of this occurs over the summer from the day we end the spring semester to the very end of August. Then the publishing process is another round from August to November. In other words, we all keep very busy, and it is truly a moment to be proud of when we have created the new journal. Slightly different from last year, this year's edition of the journal features more artists and two new genres, photography and poetry, right alongside research papers involving arts, humanities, and the sciences. Laridae is truly a forum for all majors or creative works, For example, did you know that cancer could be explained by the world of Harry Potter? No? Well, that's just the reason to go check out the journal on the Salisbury website after this event. Tonight is a celebration of Laridae and the authors who made this year's edition possible. I hope everyone enjoys the event and hearing from our speakers. And with that, I would like to introduce Dr. Charles White, Salisbury University's president, as our very first speaker. Thank you for joining, Dr. White.
Thank you, Maggie. I am just incredibly impressed with the quality of the work that has gone into Volume 2. I've had a chance to read many of the articles and contributions, and it's not just the depth of the work, but also the breadth. Everything from science to economics to poetry to fine art and everything in between. And the work reflects not only what's going on inside the university, but also many of the works reflect things that are going on outside the university in our world as well. Professor Bemis, thank you for all of the support that you and your team at ORCA provide to students. This is an incredibly important part of their education. I was very fortunate as an undergraduate to be involved in a research effort and had the opportunity to publish work. And that turned out to be very influential in the development of my education in graduate school and in my career. So thank you for supporting our students. Students, you are amazing. You know, in these times when we are scrambling to find new ways of working and doing scholarship and research, you found it, and you found it in spades. So, you know, the work that you have done is just incredibly high quality, and I congratulate you all, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your presentations. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. White. Now, I would like to introduce Dr. Karen Olmsted, Salisbury University Provost and Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs.
Thank you, Maggie. Well, it is my great pleasure as well to join you this evening for the launch of Volume 2 of Laridae. And I was delighted to see that in addition to a message from Maggie Giggy as the editor-in-chief in this volume, there were also letters from the founder, Abe Adeoye, and the inaugural editor-in-chief, Harrison Leon. So I think that historic thread is really terrific. I was saying when the meeting was, we were just coming together, that in some ways it seems like just a few weeks ago that we were together in the Assembly Hall of the Gregory Academic Commons, but in other ways it seems like a lifetime ago, given the events of 2020. And as proud as I was last November of the launch of the inaugural volume of Laridae, I think I might, as the president was saying, by the contributions here, as Dr. Bemis was saying it at the top. So thank you for all of that. As all of you know, Laridae is a completely student-conceived and student-driven initiative, and one with outstanding results. As I mentioned last year, bringing a research project to a written form is a challenge. It seems, like a lot of work when you look at the volume, but those of us who have written research articles know it is a ton of work. It's not just like sitting down and you write it from abstract to conclusion, start to finish. Writing is really a process of discovery itself, and it can be as important as the research activity in terms of communicating your results, but also placing them in the larger context of the scholarly literature that exists in your field. In addition to the research articles, there's creative work, including photography, paintings, and poetry, as was previously mentioned. And I just love reading the artist statements that add to our understanding of the pieces, and often to understanding better the artists and their creative process. Again, like the research articles in Volume 2 of Laridae, the creative work contained within this volume is quite accomplished and reflective of the level of sophistication, creativity, professionalism, and frankly, bravery that our students have about their craft. Again, I'd like to congratulate the entire Laridae staff the artists, creative writers, researchers, faculty mentors, faculty reviewers, and Dr. Rai Bemis, our faculty director of ORCA, on this impressive accomplishment. This is truly an inspiring example of the intellectual and creative environment that we hope to foster at Salisbury University. And I can't wait to see Volume 3. Thank you so much for your great work.
Thank you, Dr. Olmsted. Next, we will hear from the authors themselves. So authors, please remember to keep each presentation to a minute.
So I am not Eric Johnson, but I will be reading his slide for him. So Eric Johnson, he did our cover image, and the title is Enough is Enough. And these photos display a strong ideal message of anger, provoked, tiresome, etc. because of all the killings that have occurred in the different minorities. Racism has been a war between whites and other minorities since the beginning of time. This includes African Americans, Asians, Hispanic, and so many more. I have just a few questions. When is enough going to be enough? Why do you have so much hatred built towards? When will you finally realize that we aren't going anywhere? With these pictures being published, I hope that this makes you think about what you say and what your actions can do towards our minority. I hope and pray that the day will come, but today is just not that day. Only time will tell. I will also be reading this one. Here are us, yearning for change. Yearning for Change is a poem to honor that many African Americans who lost their lives to racial violence. This is for the little boys and girls who suffer as a result of gentrification and racism, the teenagers who are on the wrong path and need someone to hear their cries, and the mothers who have had to face the life cycle in reverse. Victims of racism, gentrification, and violence must know that their cries are heard and that their pain is felt.
Hi everyone, I'm Maddie. My paper is called The Wizarding World of Oncology, Harry Potter, Cancer Initiating Stem Cells, and the Tumor Microenvironment. And my paper is basically using Harry Potter analogies to describe how these cancer initiating stem cells, or CICs, interact with cellular and structural components in the tumor microenvironment to basically make a cancer more resistant to therapeutic treatments and contribute to metastasis throughout the body. And I just wanted to give a special thanks to Dr. Rojas for encouraging me with this to get it published, Dr. Clark for serving as my faculty reviewer and giving me feedback and helping me write it to be even more effective, the Honors College, and also Marissa for illustrating it and providing really great images.
Hi everybody, I'm Marissa and I illustrated Maddie's paper. I would just like to also thank Dr. Rojas for reaching out to me and asking if I wanted to collaborate on this project. It was a lot of fun, and thank you to Maddie for writing such an amazing paper. I had such a good time working on this with you both. So.
Hi everyone, I'm Gloria Thalmaklo. I'm a poli-sci major and double minor in international relations and German. And the title of my my publication was Ahome. And Ahome is the Ewe word for home. Ewe is a regional language native to Togo, and it could be found in Benin and Ghana as well. And these three countries are found in West Africa. I was born here in the United States, but as you can probably assume, my family is from Togo. And so throughout my life, I've always heard about the country, but never got a chance to visit. So last summer was my first time visiting, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And when I first got there, that's what felt like home to me. Like the weather, it was so warm, the beach, the palm trees. So my piece just demonstrates what an average day in Togo is like, from the beach to the streets to neighborhoods, and just average, life in general. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Brittany Grubb, and my paper was Putting a Check in All the Boxes, the Case for the National Voter Registration App. I am a sophomore biology major, but this is a topic that was really important to me, so I figured I would write about it. There are so many people who do not vote in elections, either their local elections or the federal elections, because they're unregistered to vote. And so with this, I proposed an app to help stop that problem. So the proposed app combines the current online voter registration process, so the technology that's already there, and just makes it more accessible and more engaging. Everyone knows the youth of today are on their phones in an unprecedented amount. So why not make it in ways that can reach them? So it may sound simple, but the first step in getting people to vote is getting people registered to vote. And during this, I'd like to thank my mom for encouraging me throughout the writing and publication process and for everything that I do. And I would like to thank my dad for answering my endless political questions and always challenging me to think critically.
Hi, my name is Allison Guy. I'm a senior majoring in English in the writing and rhetoric track, and I also have a music minor. So my paper was called The Definition of Grammar in the Writing Center, a Research Study. In the context of a writing center, grammar can mean many different things. This project focused on what grammar means specifically to writing center consultants and students who use the Salisbury University Writing Center. The study found that both consultants and student writers associate especially the term clarity with grammar, but also associate the terms flow and organization with grammar. My faculty mentor was Dr. Melissa Bugdell. I would like to thank her for her feedback and just bouncing ideas off of each other. And thank you to Miranda Cantor as well for her feedback on this paper.
So Madison Beloy wrote The History, Life Cycle, and Importance of the Hawaiian Language, an overview. This paper acknowledges all that is the Hawaiian language, how it has benefits the field of linguistics, how it continues to thrive within the islands, and how it nearly went extinct.
Hi everyone, I'm Kaylin. I'm a senior in the Environmental Studies and Biology departments. My paper was titled Western Views and How They Harm Conservation Practices. And it's about how the West's perceptions of nature and conservation produce violent and unethical conservation practices with a focus on Indigenous peoples and their role in protecting biodiversity. It calls for a shift in views and a new way of protecting biodiversity to ensure that cultures and people are being protected as well.
Lola Pinko, she had 2 pieces in our journal, both paintings, and Defying Gravity, and I cannot pronounce the last one. I apologize. As a reaction to globalization, the human figure is a central part of my body of work. Its uniqueness, individuality, power, and vulnerability reveal the true beauty that lies in our differences.
Hello, my name is Samantha Stelzer, and my paper is The Lowell Textile Mills, the Economic Independence of the Lowell Mill Girls. And my paper really explores the connection between women working in the Lowell textile mills from the early to mid 1800s and the impact of their wages on their economic independence based on how the women spent their wages before, during, and after working at the mills. And while they experienced various forms of economic independence, their independence was limited by a long-withstanding patriarchal society. And I would just like to give a huge thank you to my family and my friends who read my paper so many times, and also to the Salisbury librarians who worked tirelessly to obtain a wide range of important documents for my research.
Hello, my name is Haley Taylor. I am a sophomore majoring in political science and philosophy with a minor in psychology. My paper was Affordable Housing First, a transition from emergency care to prevention of chronic homelessness. It kind of worked in 3 parts. The first, introducing the historical basis for where we're at with housing policy, and identifying the underlying philosophy, which is that people are homeless and they're an undeserving poor. That means that they're in that position because they got themselves in there. And it identifies treatment first as the previous model for really treating homelessness, which is that you treat addiction and establish that sort of treatment before you provide housing. And it identifies housing first as the more effective model of homelessness treatment for chronic homeless individuals, which is placing them in houses and then working on those other issues that they might have, like addiction. And then it also identifies the affordable housing crisis and how that also needs to be addressed in order to really holistically address chronic homelessness. And the policy goals that need to be implemented on a community level to really kind of go from treating homelessness to really preventing homelessness from occurring in the first place. And big shout out to Professor Hill for her guidance on this project and the Clark Honors College.
Hi everyone, my name is Brianna Dominic and I am a sophomore Spanish major and a pre-med student. My paper was called Women's Education and Careers, Understanding the Gender Gap in STEM and Engineering. And my paper examines why the gender gap in engineering is not responding to the same methods that have been used in other areas of STEM, such as biology, where we can see a decrease in the gender gap. So my paper puts forward a few ideas about how to better close the gap in engineering specifically, and why it hasn't responded to the other methods that have been used. My faculty mentor was Professor Lauren Hill, and I wanted to give my thanks to Professor Lauren Hill and as well as the Clark Honors College for their support with this paper.
So Deshaun McCarthy's paper or painting was Detonate, and it was a pain only women will understand. Matthew Nur's paper was Deforestation Policies in Oregon and the European Union. My article analyzes the deforestation management policies of Oregon and the European Union. Since both of these state politics are dependent upon the timber-based sectors of their economies, understanding their methods of mitigating the adverse consequences that deforestation has on climate change is imperative. Comparisons of their legislative approaches for maintaining an environmentally sustainable timber industry are evaluated in depth.
Hi everyone, my name is Ines Changa. My paper is titled The Effect of Music and Movies on Dental Anxiety. The aim of our study was to determine methods in which music and movie could be used to alleviate certain physiological symptoms that are due to dental anxiety. And dental anxiety is defined as a fear or anxiety of going to the dentist due to dental procedure. In order to perform our studies, we utilize music and movies as intervention tools to see if it would reduce some physiological symptoms, which are sweating, and etc. Overall, our finding does suggest that music listening was more effective at reducing dental anxiety than movie watching, and then it also suggests that music listening could be used as an applicable tool to be potentially utilized in real dental office settings.
Hello, my name is Anna Brennan, and my paper was the Germ-Free Environment-Associated Immune Dysregulation. And I was essentially looking at some previous research that's been done on the effect of a exposure to a diverse microbial environment throughout life and the effects that that might have on autoimmune disorders. And I specifically looked at allergies. And I found that it was very important that in younger life during the immune system development, it's really critical that we are exposed to a diverse microbial environment because different microbes can act as endogenous ligands that actually influence the regulation of the immune system and the development of the immune system as well. And I would like to thank Dr. Nyland for helping me with this project and getting me involved in this type of research.
Amber Nell, and quantification of Mg plus ion uptake and release with Escherichia coli cells. I apologize for my butchering of that. In this research, we explored the effects of the states of E. coli cells, the cell concentrations, and competitor ions on the amount of magnesium ions the E. coli cells uptake and release using the fluorescent di-8 hydroquinoline 5-sulfonic acid. Madison Germain, investigating regulation of 3-hydroxypropionate assimilation in Rhodobacter spheroids. My research set out to investigate the regulation of the metabolic incorporation of a molecule, 3-hydroxypropionate, as a sole carbon source by the bacterial species Rhodobacter spheroides. In assessing the regulation of involved metabolic pathways, whole cell RNA from cells grown with 3-hydroxypropionate was isolated. Methods in reverse transcription and QRT-PCR will compare the relative amounts of enzyme encoding RNA sequences specific to the metabolic pathways in question, and provide data concerning the regulation of 3-hydroxypropionate assimilation by R. spheroides. Overall, the study will offer insight into the carbon metabolism of R. spheroides. I apologize.
Hello, my name is Michael Mandalak, and I'm a fourth-year computer science major and author of Implementation of Improved Stable Matching Algorithms. My included work utilizes Salisbury University's high-performance computing lab to test the efficiency of modern parallel algorithms used to solve the theoretical stable marriage problem, which governs modern computer network communications and set matching problems. I would like to thank Dr. Liu for her mentorship throughout my undergraduate research efforts, and Dr. Jing and Professor Hill for their support of my academic endeavors. Thank you.
Jaden Long had a poem in our journal called Time. Time is a poem about poverty and the artificial distance it places between one's goals and relationships. In time, the feelings associated with not belonging, worry over finances, fear of change, and fear of what may exist on the other side of poverty are explored. Time is a biographical reflection of my journey from high school to now.
Thank you, authors, and thank you, Mackenzie, for filling in for those authors who could not make it tonight. Finally, I would like to introduce Dr. Clifton Griffin, Dean of Graduate Studies and Research.
Great. Thank you so much, Maggie, and congratulations to all of you on your tremendous efforts. I was just keeping a little list. I looked through the journal in more detail the last 2 or 3 days, and it is indeed, as Dr. White and Dr. Olmsted said, an incredibly impressive feat. And I know we use those words a great deal, and you may think, well, that's just university administrators saying nice things. But really, this is the kind of effort that you see at major research universities. And it is indeed gratifying to be at Salisbury University and to see the efforts of our students and as others have said, to take not only your research, first and foremost, to participate in research and scholarly activities and to put your scholarship and your creative mindset out in the public place, but then to do it in such a professional manner to get it published is miraculous. It really is quite an achievement. And as Dr. Olmsted said, those of you that are working also on the editorial component of this are, just rock stars. It is not easy to get something like this done in the best of times, but during times when the whole society is pretty much stressed to the max, to be able to complete this journal and to have such an outstanding kind of academic presence for Salisbury University is remarkable, because it's just a beacon of the great work that is going on with faculty and students in collaboration, doing great things from all across the spectrum. I mean, from immune systems to cancer to deforestation to conservation to homelessness to history to art. I mean, that's quite an array of outstanding information to put forth in a journal, no matter where you are. But to be able to do that at a university like Salisbury University, it makes us incredibly proud of you. It really is just not a trite expression. Please know that. You're to be congratulated. I'm especially grateful to the former leaders of ORCA, who I know have been a part of the transition. Dr. Chris Egan and Dr. Jessica Clark have participated in helping some of you and reading articles and so forth, and especially Dr. Rod Bemis to step in this year as the new director of ORCA and the faculty leading voice for Laridae and the Laridae production effort. She has just done an incredible job. And certainly great thanks to all the faculty that served as editors and readers and reviewers for the articles, and the faculty that worked tirelessly with many of you and all of you to actually get the work done. So it is indeed gratifying to be able to see this thing continue to grow. As Dr. Olmsted said, last year it was really cool. You had Addie and as the kind of founding idea. I remember him talking to me about this in the hallway of Holloway Hall like 3 years ago. We just kind of, every time I would see him in the hall, he would say, we're going to do this thing. And I'm like, we're going to do this thing. And the next thing you know, we have done it, and we've done it twice. Well, we haven't, you have. And so it is great to see that kind of passing of the torch and the energy that you all bring to your efforts. So thank you all very much. Thank you for your presentations. Thank you, Mackenzie, for filling in. Don't worry about the big words. It's the effort that counts. And thanks to Maggie for a great addition and being an outstanding editor. You all are to be commended. Thanks.
So this is the closing. So as I always like to say, always give credit where credit is due. So I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to everyone who made this year's journal possible. Thank you to our very own past spring, but we couldn't have gotten through without you. And not to forget Dr. Clark and Dr. Egan, the past ORCA directors, for establishing this partnership. Thank you to Marina Fieser, Crystal Kelly, Christine Smith, and Anna Maldonado from Publications for giving our vision of the journal a reality. Without the work you all do, we wouldn't even be a journal today. Thank you to our Laridae editors, faculty reviewers, and the Writing Center for working over the summer with our authors. And lastly, thank you again to today's speakers, technical help, and attendees for supporting the journal, our effort, and making the event a success. And for anyone I may have accidentally forgotten to mention, thank you. We couldn't have done this without you. The inaugural issue, Volume 1, and this year's Volume 2 can be found electronically on Salisbury University's website under the ORCA webpage. And for those of you who are undergrad and may want to submit to Laridae for the next journal, look out for our emails in the spring. We will be accepting submissions starting the end of the spring semester. Thank you all for attending our event, and we hope to see everyone in person next year. Happy reading.